Dave.
Ian.
Apex adjacent, yada, yada, yada. Sometimes in the life of a car enthusiast, we've talked before about how like we are often, kind of out of touch with the people around us. And sometimes we're seen, but not really seen. We're not sure if it's a good thing that we're seen. You know what I mean? You ever been just nailed, right? So I was coming back from the airport from a work trip.
Okay.
I had parked my car at the airport and then was driving it back. And it was one of those, like, I got on an early flight on the East Coast. And so I got back and it was still like mid-morning. And so I still had like work stuff to do.
Good timing. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. And so I got on a call with the rest of my team. And my boss was on.
Was this while you were in the car driving back?
While I'm in the car. So I have, my car is 2004, but I have an updated radio. So I have Bluetooth in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I came off of mute and was talking about business stuff. And then my boss was like, "Oh, right. You have like a ridiculous car, right? Because it sounds like you're in a dryer right now." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry about that. It's like really loud. This is as quiet as it gets." And I was even like, I don't know if you do this when you're in the car, if anyone else can relate to this, but I time my throttle inputs with whether I'm on mute or not when I'm trying to be professional.
Yes. When
right?
you need to speak, you're like, okay, I'm gonna short shift up to 6th. I'm gonna coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You basically, the mute button goes off and the clutch goes in. And then you just coast and idle. And so you got to talk real fast so you don't run out of speed. And then you can mute on, clutch out.
Yes. You have a 4-pedal box.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you got to do that. Keep it profesh.
Yeah.
And even so, even then, it was apparently pretty apparent what was happening over on my end of the thing. And then my boss was like, "Well," so he's was asking me about my car or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, well, I have a couple cars," and I said, "Really? What do you have?" And he's like, "Well, I've got a classic Scirocco, and I've got a 1972 Datsun 510 coupe," and I was like, "Wait,
are you freaking kidding me?"
Right? I was like, "How am I just learning about this now? What?"
Bitch is holding out on you.
Yeah. And I've like known him for like a year at this point, and like he didn't tell me this up until now. And so I flipped out on the work call, lost all pretense of professionalism. And then he was like, "No, but I knew you would like those two." I was like,
tricked you.
Nailed me.
Oh man.
Like, to get me that specifically too.
Right.
Was a little annoying.
Yeah. I like that he nailed 2 cars that like are like that.
He knew I would lose my mind over.
Yeah. You saw my reaction to it, right? Yeah. I assume yours was the same. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a perfect aging hipster 2-car garage.
Right. Yeah, our buddy Mark that sends us vanity plates and great other pictures. One of his first, I think his first car was a Datsun 510. Sorry, Mark, if you have to update your banking password challenge questions. But we've talked about Datsun 510s before. Yeah.
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 So yeah, I like put my mute button back on and was like, "Son of a bitch." Got me.
You hit the 5th pedal, which is just stew in your own juices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So anyway.
No, I think that oftentimes we want to picture ourselves as people that fall outside of a stereotype.
Oh yeah. In my mind, I'm an enigma wrapped in a mystery, and no.
Right. Yeah.
Turns out not so much.
Turns out there's just a playbook and it's a Post-it note.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Nice. I like that, Ian. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Should your boss ever come to town and you sucker them into karting, then I will high five them for what they did to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that makes one of us.
I did have a coworker reach out and also ask me if I was a car person. And so there was, they had heard from someone else. So I don't know what this is about my name preceding me, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think that usually means they're about to ask you for help.
No, it wasn't. They did not ping me for help. So yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Normally, you're right, though. It is that like, hey, you're a car person.
Right.
Why do this? Why does this do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How do I turn off my bright lights?
And not the Interpol album.
So what else we got today?
Oh, man.
You have some updates. You've been busy.
Buddy, I have been going. I am wrung out tonight. Like, yeah, today was a buffer day. My wife is out of town. I do not do well on my own. I just mope and groan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I'm also very, very tired. So I, just moped and groaned while doing laundry, basically.
Yeah, as you do.
And so, yeah, I mean, should we talk about all of my activities lately? Because I definitely want to hear about another thing that you listed. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do mine first, and then we can do a solid Dave block after
okay.
that. So on this work trip that I was on, I was out east. I was in the DC area very briefly, kind of a in and out strike. And I noticed something. I got the opportunity to walk around downtown DC a little bit. And I thought this was a thing that was just a phenomenon of my house in Denver is like right off, kind of an enthusiast driving area.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just
fair, few lanes wide.
Yeah. And having been, traveling around for work the last few months, the Burble tunes are out of control. It's an epidemic.
Yes, I 1,000% agree. I would never want to drive a car with the Pops and Bangs tunes, there's so many things that you hear and it's just like, why are we doing this?
And like, I am in a tenuous position complaining about this.
I was going to say, right? This is the person that got called out on a work meeting for the sound of their car. Remember the source for this criticism.
Yeah. Remember 2 minutes ago when I was telling that story? But my car will do some pops and bangs occasionally, especially, on cold start and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And under certain driving conditions, it definitely does pops and bangs. But this pops and bangs out of like the base model Audi A4 is like, I don't get it. It's too much, right?
Yes. Or a BMW 325, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
And it's just like everywhere you go. And it's like, it's everywhere now. It's in every city.
Yeah. It's like somebody just has like a super easy flash kit that it's probably on Amazon. You can get it overnight. And it's like, why the fuck not level of money?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's out of control. And I think we should dial it back a little bit because I feel like it's bordering on like just straight up antisocial, like,
yes,
like coal rolling sort of mod.
That's a great point. It is antagonistic
at a time when we need to kind of be under the radar a little bit. We need to be nice right now.
Correct.
As enthusiasts.
Yeah. We need to be gentle and approachable and not misogynist or racist or homophobic, transphobic dicks. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what I was going to say is, it's like when you're having a lot of fun together, and you got one friend who goes just a little too much, and you know that like they're gonna ruin it for the whole group.
Yep.
You're gonna attract the bouncer's attention, and you're gonna get tossed out of the bar.
Right.
So now you gotta have less fun than you were before.
Right.
You gotta take it down like 4 notches.
Right. Because they're gonna be at a 10.
Right. And you just gotta be like, be cool, man. Be cool.
Right.
We were having fun at a 6, and now you're at a 10. And now it's a problem.
Right. And when you tell other people about it the next day and they ask who all was there, they know that the next thing you say is going to be about what that person tried to touch a cop's gun. Like that.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Because right now we're at the bar with Miata with a roll bar.
Yes.
And lifted Tacoma.
Donks.
And Donk was there. He was having a great time.
Absolutely.
Donk was life of the party.
Oh, the rock crawler showed up too.
Rock crawler was there. He was cool. He was later than everybody else because he's so slow. But he got there. He crawled over all the tables.
Gears
crawled over the bar. But he got there. And then the night was great. And then Burble Tune showed up. And then your friend is like, "Whoa, man, Burble Tune."
And what did they do this time?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are correct. It is the Burble Tunes, the pops and bangs. They are besmirching the image we want to convey as enthusiasts. I think I think this about like loud car stereos, right? Mm-hmm. Driving down the street, turn it up, cool, right? At a stoplight, just pelting people with bass. Don't do that, right? Just turn it the fuck down at an intersection. There's people
at the very least, make sure your license plate doesn't rattle.
Thank you. Yes, surgical tubing, great thing to throw around the back of that. And then also, turn it down when you drive by a cemetery or something like that, There was a cemetery that was like very close to my house when I was a kid, right? And so like when I was driving and, blasting Nine Inch Nails closer on my little Boston acoustics speakers, I always turned it down when I got near the cemetery. Yeah, just be,
I was with you until the cemetery thing, because I think honestly that would be the place to turn it up, because you're quite clearly not going to be bothering anybody.
No, that's the thing. This is like where they're doing services and stuff. Yeah, right.
I thought you meant like just an empty cemetery.
No, like at night, sure, go for it. Yeah, like rattle them bones. Yeah,
literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But okay. Point taken. Yeah.
Right,
if there's people in mourning,
I'm gonna miss Grandma so much. Is that Trent Reznor? Why do I cry every time I hear Beastie Boys Sure Shot now? I get so depressed. Yeah. So yes. So similar to car audio enthusiasts that like it very loud, that's another kind of like assaulting on the senses kind of thing. Right. And which is one of the reasons I love my Fiat, because I think its exhaust is perfect. It's cute enough that you notice it, but not assaulting. Yeah.
Well, but it also sounds purposeful, and I think that's the thing. Oh, and that was the other thing that brings me to my other thought about this, which is the Burble Tune is. Do you remember way back in the halcyon days of 2003?
Fondly.
And the equivalent craze in car culture was the whistle tip.
Yep. The whistles go woo. Yeah.
Bub rub.
Uh-huh.
I watched that video on E-Bombs World.
Yep.
I'm going to say 4,000 times.
Yeah, you were either E-bombs or something
YouTube.
awful, right?
Yeah, E-bombs. I was definitely E-bombs.
We were in E-bombs world house.
We were an E-bombs family.
Like if you were a Nintendo or Sega kid.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So, but yeah, the whistle tips go woo woo.
Uh-huh.
It's just for decoration. That's it, and that's all. Pretty much describes Burble tune.
Yeah,
as well.
I agree.
Oh
Bob Rob. Yep.
If you have never seen this video, do yourself a favor.
I'll put a link in the YouTube description. Yeah.
Stop watching this and go watch that.
I'm making a note of it now because I know there's sometimes I say that I'm going to do that and I forget. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Bob Rob. I'm just putting Bob Rob on the notepad. Uh-huh.
I was going to go.
My wife sees it as
what?
Yeah, bum rub? What? You could just ask.
I'm going to leave a sitter next time I leave.
Oh, well, I am 100% in agreement with you, Ian. Yeah. The Burble tunes, the pops and bangs. You know, if I had something like that, I would love a Switch just to be able to hit it. Should I encounter a rock canyon wall? Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. You know, time and place, right? Fidelity.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's just striking. Like every place I go now, you're outside for 10 minutes and you hear,
yeah.
You're like, well, that's an Audi A4 with a 2-liter and no other supporting mods. You know exactly what is happening in that car.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is hilarious because I think our buddy PETA has like modified his Audi A4 in such a way that moves so far away from like the typical Audi modifiers that are just like, they get dumb vanity plates that like, right. WRX Hunter or, BMW Killer, and the pops and bags and burbles and, Yeah,
especially in Colorado, there's definitely a culture of weird Audi modifiers for sure.
Yeah, and PETA's just looks like hey, you're just taking your blue car to go skiing. That's
it's all business. It's all business, which is how a German car should be modified.
Right.
Business.
And then it rips your fucking face off.
Well, that's part of business.
Yeah. You rode in it recently, didn't you?
Yeah, a few months ago. It's awesome.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Yeah. Well, I'm with you, Ian. Let's rein it in, automotive community. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of our listeners are.
You get 3 pops and 2 bangs per week. I don't know.
Yeah. We have a punch card. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
You have to, it's like a needle exchange program. You have to hand in empty vape cartridges
to refill your pop and bang credits.
Correct. There we go.
Prove that you obeyed the speed limit in a school zone and you can have some pops and bangs
in the countryside.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Let's use all this LexisNexis data for some good, right?
See, yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Don't raise my insurance rates. Instead, give me credits for bad behavior.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like a currency in a freemium phone game. Yeah. You get your little gold tokens. Yeah.
And then if somebody's like, "Why are you driving so slow?" And you're like, "I'm mining right now. I'm grinding. I'm grinding it out to do some triple digit speeds later."
Exactly. Yes, let's gamify this shit. Yeah. God, we're fucking geniuses.
Oh, yeah. Pay us, insurance companies.
What Colbert would always do, money, please.
Yeah. It's gonna get his beak wet. That's the other thing.
Okay. Well, Ian, I could explain my weary eyes other than it's almost 9 p.m. So for the past few days, PETA and PETA's friend from Maine, Bip came to town. Yep, BIP. Bip came to town. Delightful gentleman.
All right.
Came to visit PETA. And so we did all of the car things in 3 days.
Oh my God.
At one point at 11 p.m. in my garage, I just stepped back and I was like, oh my God, like teenage Dave would be so happy right now because we're working on 2 different cars at the same time in my garage. It's like a beautiful Colorado evening with like the perfect air. And like I've got an Abarth sitting there. PETA has his M3 that we're doing the brakes on. And like, I'm working in the garage on cars with my friends. Like,
that's great.
Right? You know?
Why'd you need to do the brakes on the M3? Let's start with that.
So we went out to High Plains Raceway on Sunday for the Emic track day. We did our typical life hack of doing the afternoon session only, and we were greatly rewarded. So the circumstances were wild.
You had great weather.
Great weather when everyone thought it was going to be shitty.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So turnout was at an all-time low.
Okay.
The initial kind of like first session for the afternoon, I mean, the driver's meeting was pretty sparse. I think just so many people just didn't show up because they didn't think the weather was going to hold out. And I don't think you can't get a refund. And people just chose not to chance it.
Right.
Yeah, but the weather was great. It was 50-ish, a little windy, overcast, and then the sun came out. And they said the track was wet in the morning, but it did dry off. Yeah, because it had been raining. It rained solid the day before that Saturday. It was like...
Right.
Yeah. And so we get there, we see that there's very few people there, and we are very stoked. I drove my Lexus out there. Bip and PETA were in the M3, and maybe the first session had, less than 10 cars. I mean,
wow.
So yeah, maybe 12 at the most. So few, and they didn't run. It was so few cars that they didn't run advanced and intermediate groups, so you didn't have to go half hour on, half hour off. You could just stay out as much as you wanted. They braked on the hour to let the corner workers like hit the restroom, get a break, stuff like that.
Yep. Did they run the full track?
Full track.
Oh, wow. Because sometimes when they have small groups, they run different configurations.
Exactly.
But that's great. They ran the full track.
Right? And so PETA did 50 some odd laps.
Wow.
At least 20 of those were all by himself.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it was wild. That's great. There was a fair amount that there were only 3 cars. He was one of them on the entire 2.5 mile track.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically, you have the track to yourself.
You have the track to yourself. Yeah.
I mean, even in the Champ Car race that I did last year, there were 25 cars, and there were long stretches where I was like, did I miss a red flag? Because I seem to be the only one out here.
Right. Did a zombie apocalypse happen and no one told us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.5 miles that's a long track for only 3 cars to be on.
Right? Yeah. But they kept everything going until 5 p.m.
That's great.
You know, and PETA kept running, and he did so great. He was so consistent. So standing on the side watching his times was fantastic. He was consistently hitting 211s and even broke his personal record and got into the 209s.
That's great.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a picture. So my experience of it was I just got a picture of some ruined tires and some cooked brakes. And I was like, oh man, I missed a good time.
You did. We had the track experience that you would have to pay thousands of dollars to make happen.
Right.
And PETA had that for like $129.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
so cool.
We had like what a rich person does for a track day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right? This is like renting out the movie theater for just you and a couple friends. This is buying out the restaurant. This is the thing. Like, it was amazing. And so PETA was so focused and so dialed, and it was so great. It's so amazing seeing him evolve and his times come down with no, like, he's not throwing horsepower at the car. You know, it's all like education and driver.
Just driver mods, yeah.
Yeah, and getting nerve endings for the car. We saw him oversteer a turn, coming up from High Plains Drifter, turn 8, going down. Swung the back end a little bit out, reined it in. Still on that lap, I think he got like a 212. So
that's great.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we did that afternoon track session, ended at 5 p.m. I headed back to the house. Bip and PETA came over. So that this is something that you, me, and PETA have been talking about making happen since we've known PETA, right? Mm-hmm. That we all wanted to just go crush mountain roads for a day or two, right? Yeah. Just a driving trip, and we finally were able to make it happen. So, Bip coming to town, was a good excuse for him to visit. Yeah. I took time off of work so that we could do it without any tourist traffic. And we went, we just crushed mountain roads on Monday and Tuesday. So, that's great.
Well, it's dicey to do that in late April, because it's still technically like traction law and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. So commercial vehicles still have to carry chains. Yeah.
Yeah.
During this time. Yeah. And we did get a little scared because after the track day, you're just like not even driving, you're just wrung out, right?
Yeah.
And so PETA needed to change his pads and his tires to, things that wouldn't vaporize because he had worn all of them out. So we changed his brakes and his tires on the M3 that night after the track day. We put, we've been watching the weather like hawks, right? And so I didn't know if I was going to keep the snow tires on the Abarth or put my summer tires on and the wheel spacers, stuff like that. So weather looked good enough and we're not taking chances. Weather looked good enough to do the summer tires and the spacers for the Fiat. PETA installed a strut tower brace for me. Bip helped me with the wheels and the spacers, and he and I also did some of PETA's brakes. And we just crushed some work until about 11 and change that night. And then we did not push ourselves and have an early start on Monday morning. We just woke up, let the day kind of happen, the morning happen, get caffeinated and whatnot. And then I made a list of stuff we did. So we went from Westminster. And I'll share a browser so I can show you the roads and stuff. There's Bub Rub. Woo woo. Maps.goigle.com. Okay, so we went to Dillon. Yeah, we just bopped down I-70 and went up to Dillon here. So let's do Dillon, Colorado. Dillon, Colorado. Let's go directions. Sure, my location. Okay. Or home. Don't look at my address, people. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can fold that thing in on the side. Okay. So we went to Dillon, and we went by way of Loveland Pass. So where's Loveland Pass? Is that this right here? No, it is, right? Yep. Okay. So we went by way of Loveland Pass. PETA loves driving Loveland Pass. That's like his.
I do too. It's so much fun.
Yeah. He has it 2 minutes from his house. That's his Sabine Schmidt Nürburgring.
That's his backyard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Loveland Pass when it's snowing out in my car. It's so much fun. I have scared a few friends in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, let me just drop some street view on Loveland Pass just to show folks what it's like. There's no fucking guardrails and gigantic drop-offs
But the
And
views are unbelievable. The road is actually in really pretty good shape because it's well maintained, because it's the bypass for the tunnel, for a
yes,
big tunnel that goes under the Continental Divide for on I-70, and it's where like all the hazardous waste or all the hazardous material stuff has to go, so that way it doesn't explode the tunnel,
right.
or catch fire in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so this road is actually pretty well maintained, but it's spectacular.
Yes. Plenty of switchbacks, but man,
And then big open sections like this, once you get above the trees, like
yep,
it's pretty great.
it is. I've ridden a bike up it during the triple bypass. Yeah, which is bananas. But yeah, and a lot of cyclists go up it. There's no fucking shoulder, so I wouldn't do it if it wasn't a sanctioned ride. But yeah, so we hit Loveland Pass. That was like the first kind of getting our beak wet, like you were saying, right? Then we had some lunch in PETA's area, in Frisco, and we were kind of like seeing how the weather was playing out, and we figured because it was sleeting a little bit. It was still, the ground was still warm. It was like 45 degrees, a little spitty.
Yeah,
right?
But that could change fast.
Right, especially because at this point it is afternoon, and like the Colorado rule for anybody who doesn't know is like, get your shit done by noon and get down from the mountains, Yeah.
Especially this time of year,
Right, if you're climbing a 14er, you better be heading down by then. And so so we ended up going to we decided that the weather looked good enough, and that if we ran into anything, we would just turn around and figure something out. And so I think the most important thing about this entire trip was flexibility. And so so we went from Copper. Here, let me go back to the map boy here. Let me close that. Okay, so we went over to Frisco on I-70, and we went up to Copper Mountain, all the way from Frisco to
and
70.
then you turned off on 91.
Yes, we did. And so we went to
another great road. Yeah, I love that road.
Right, to Leadville. Yep. And then we went up to Avon.
Okay, past Ski Cooper and all that.
Yep. And there's a tiny, super weird little town in here. I think this is it is the Red Cliff Bridge. Have you been by this?
We've gone past it, yeah.
Okay. Here, let me unblock your face from the folder I just opened up and open up a picture. Current show. Oh no, where'd my pictures go? Oh wait, hang on.
Oh, no.
Ian, I have it. Here we go. It's in the 7 Peter and Bip trip folder. Okay. Here you go. So here's our cars at the bridge. So Peter took the A4. He and Bip were in the A4, and I was in the Abarth. Yeah. And so here we are at the bridge. Yeah. Yeah. Very scenic, very picturesque. Yeah. Do yourself a favor and go. Yeah. Take a picture of you and your car near this bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Bip and Peter there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great little loop that you guys did. I mean, even just doing that little loop on it with I-70 in the middle is not bad.
Right? Yeah. So then from there, we went, we hooked back up with I-70, and we crushed I-70 all the way out to Grand Junction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we made it to Grand Junction that night. And so that's like 4 hours. Yeah. 3 and change from, Yeah. Like maybe 2.5 from Avon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had been doing some driving. So the next day, Ian, we hit the Colorado National Monument Road.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's called Rimrock Road. Here it is on the map. Look at how squiggly it is. Yeah. Have you driven on this road?
No,
okay.
I haven't.
Okay. So the Colorado National Monument is gorgeous. It's like kind of a small canyon. I mean, there's certainly more like Zion and arches and stuff like that, but it's just a very like succinct little park. It's really cool. And so from Grand Junction, it's only, a few minutes to get to this road and to the park entrance. And I mean, look at it, Ian. It's amazing.
That's great. Is there a street view on these switchbacks?
Let's find out together in real time.
Surely.
Yes, there is. Yeah. And so, blur that out. Yeah, I mean, it is just switchbacks and delightful streets. And this tunnel, we both got tunnel runs with our cars with no one behind us and no one coming through the tunnel.
That's great.
And each time we were able to both like stop, the first person went and then they stopped and the second person went. And then as we were driving away from it, a car was coming. And so we totally missed everything. The second time we did it, because we did that road both ways. So we,
okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, like, we went all the way over to
you
here.
Went clockwise and then went back.
Yeah. Exactly. And so on the way back, same thing. No cars. As we were leaving, UPS truck was coming by.
Nice.
And I have video and good audio of both of those that I still need to edit because I haven't had time to do anything other than mope.
That's great.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we got some great footage, some great audio, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So pardon me, that was Tuesday. And then on the way back from Grand Junction, we went up to Palisade and we took this 65 here.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I've taken this road.
Okay. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
To Mesa.
You went right past Palisade, I believe is where Flying Miata is based out of.
Oh, no way. Okay. Right on. Yeah. And then we took this 330 because we thought it would get interesting. And then it turned into a dirt road eventually.
Yeah.
And so we could not go further than, I think, this little town over here.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't make it all the way up to where we wanted to go. We wanted to get back up to Silt and then I-70 back. So, yeah. Yep. We had hot tomato pizza. It was some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life in Fruita, Colorado.
Okay.
I mean, look at the Google reviews, 4.8 and almost 2,000 reviews. It was so good. And this is like PETA's White Whale. They're like closed on Mondays or something. And every time like he and Alita would be coming back from like a mowing trip or something.
Monday or something.
Right. Always closed. And so we finally got PETA his hot tomato. And it was really, really good. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. So
man, I'm jealous. That sounds like a super fun trip.
It was. I am wrung out. And my little Fiat, Ian, with its little flat front face, murdered all of the bugs, Ian. It murdered all of the look at what happened to my boy, Ian.
Yeah.
So I washed it today. Look at that.
Wow.
And I was behind PETA most of the time. So there was one part where he said it was so bad as we were driving that it sounded like precipitation. And
I bet.
Yeah. So I washed my boy today for sure. Yeah. So Ian.
Yes.
Total mileage for the trip. I want to see if you want to guess some things. Okay. All right.
Total mileage.
Yes. So I will tell you the mileage.
Okay.
And the drive time. And then I would like you to guess how many miles per gallon my Nuggie got. Okay. And how many check engine lights were experienced by my Nuggie during this drive.
Okay.
All
right. So what was the total mileage?
Total mileage was 668.3 miles.
Okay.
Right. This
a lot of twisty roads. Just keep in mind, roads. That's not just like traversing rectangle states. That's like mountain roads. So.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And in a car with only a 5-speed transmission, not a 6.
Right.
Okay. Total drive.
I have to remind myself every time I drive your car.
Yes. Total drive time, 14 hours and 44 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. There was maybe like, I don't know, probably a combined 45 minutes of idle time as, like setting up cameras and, doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So,
and let me qualify, the check engine light thing. right? So we'll do miles per gallon, and then not just the kind of check engine light, but just quantity of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to say that your miles per gallon was 18.
Okay.
And you had 4 issues total, but one that you were like, oh no.
Oh, okay.
Only one, oh no, like this is a bad thing to happen here.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm going pessimistic with my guesses.
You are, and that's
so
okay.
You can give me good news.
I can. I should say another thing that I did before we left on the trip was that I swapped my charcoal canister and my evap purge valve on the Fiat because I was getting evap kind of related codes, and I know what those are from. We can loop back to that if you want. But it has to do with autocross. Yep. So, Ian, you are wildly low for my miles per gallon.
Really?
Yep. 36.2 miles per gallon.
Was PETA towing you?
Nope.
Wow. What did he get?
I forgot to ask him. Yeah. Huh. He stopped in Frisco on the way back, and Vip and I came back here last night.
Was that on just through the trip computer, or was that your calculations?
That was trip computer, but that was like that was proper like
there's a meatball on that scale.
So going out to Fruta, right? I did all of that on way less than 1 tank of gas, and I only have a 10-gallon tank.
Oh, okay.
So I think that this is very accurate.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Impressive.
Number of issues.
Yeah.
Would you believe it? I actually cleared automatically, without me clearing them, 1 permanent code
so your car got better?
My car got better on the trip, Ian. It's a trick question.
You improved it?
By driving the shit out of it, the Italian tune-up.
It's
right?
The Italian tune-up, yeah.
Also, the evap purge thing, or the evap codes were like the permanent codes, and so I think those cleared from me changing the canister and stuff. But the only issue, right? So it all the code stuff, right? The only issue was that I'm wrong. There's 2. On one point on the way to Fruta, you know that drive from Glenwood to Fruta is just real fucking boring, right? Yeah, you're done like with Cool Mountain stuff, and you just have to like fucking drive straight for a while. Yeah, that drive stinks. My cruise control stopped working during that time.
That's fun.
And we didn't stop for gas or anything. And like everybody in the forum said that like just stopping and starting the car fixes it. But like, and was doing the thing like when we're go-karting where it's like, maybe the brake pedal's just the sensor is a little bit. So like, right. I had time to do all of those kinds of things. Let's try it. Let's try it with the accelerator. I'm not pressing the accelerator.
It's trying a different gear. Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't even come on. So but then the next day it was fine. And then the other thing was, so on the seats, there's the pull-up strap to kind of like let the seat tilt forward or back. On the passenger side, that strap, the cable inside the seat broke. And so you have to adjust it with the thing on the side down by the bottom on the inside.
Okay.
So.
I mean, that's not too bad. Now, is this the longest you've driven this, like the furthest and most time you spent in this car since you've had it?
Yes. Yeah.
So what's the back situation? How's the back?
Ibuprofen. So I asked Jesse, and maybe we talked about it on the show. I asked Jesse, the former owner of this delightful little nugget, the person who so kindly sold it to me, what the longest trip was she ever did in it. And she said 18 hours driving it back from Virginia.
Oh, wow.
And I think she did that straight.
Yeah.
Because like our friend Steph Schrader, Jessie also seems to have no nerve endings in her buttocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iron Butt Award for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, day 2 was easier than day 1.
Okay.
And maybe that's just because
Just relaxed and
yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was that thing where it was like, well, the Fiat is running well. I am taking care of it. I don't know if there's any issues that like are lingering, but like I've been staying on top of maintenance. Everything's looking good. Blackstone report, all that stuff, you know? So let's do it. You know?
That's great, man.
And we did. And the little bug slayer fucking ripped it on those mountain passes.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
For the Colorado National Monument Road, Peter said his car, his A4, felt a little big, even though it didn't look like it.
Yeah.
But I feel like for that road, the Nugget was perfect. Like that is your like Miata, you know, Fiat 500 Abarth road, right? And then the next one that we did, we did another detour coming back. That was, where was it? Peter had actually gotten detoured on the highway this way one time. I can't remember what it was, but it was a oh yes. So when we did Mesa, we came back to Dubuque.
Mm-hmm.
This road here is like a fucking Hot Wheels track. This
really?
45 and a half road, it is weird and wild, man. Yeah, not just like twisty, but like a lot of altitude changes and like blind stuff that you have to be really careful of. It doesn't look crazy on the map, but there's some wild parts. Yeah, it's very like lots of little kind of poppers and it was cool. It was really cool. Yeah. So Peter's car felt more at home kind of on that stuff, Loveland Pass. And the Nugget was
and on the highway, I'm guessing. I mean,
oh, dude, right? Yeah. But the Nugget,
I bet your car is super fun on Loveland Pass.
It is. If you're not shitting yourself because, you know, you're afraid, you know. Yeah. Also, I'm not the kind of person that sends it on mountain roads. I drive conservatively, you know. And
me too.
Yeah, I'm probably 1/4 of what you do on mountain roads. Yeah.
Here's my thing with the guardrail discussion. Is like people are always like, well, there's no guardrail. I'm scared. But like, are you normally just ping-ponging off of guardrails? You don't normally hit the guardrails, right?
No, but let's say somebody was going too fast and started overcooking something and came across the yellow line.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm really afraid of.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
No, I get it.
I'm okay. Yeah. It's all these other fucking idiots that I'm worried about. Yeah. Vape Bro with this Pops and Bangs and Burbles tune.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, that's the thing with driving on the street is like there's a difference between you know, driving on the track and driving something like this fast is like you need to leave yourself an envelope, right? You need to leave yourself, you need to know that you have some grip left over for a UPS truck in the middle of the road or a cyclist or whatever nonsense is going to be happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you can't see around the turn, then you're going slow enough that it's perfectly easy to stop. Right. Right. If there was a cyclist, if there was something on the other side of that turn or on that dip that you can't see over, maybe it turns left or right. Who the hell knows? You know? Yeah. We did have cows on the road at one point, on that one that turned to a dirt road. And then there was a flock of turkeys. Yeah, there was one turkey that was wandering close to the road. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I just want to give a shout out to PETA for all of the work that he did to make that trip happen and everything that he did and how insanely proud I am of him and his accomplishments on the track. I don't have words Yeah.
Yeah.
So impressed.
That's great. I'm really glad you guys all got to do that. It's so cool.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful that I got to meet his longtime friend Bip, and so great for Bip to come out and drive those roads with us. So yeah. Yeah,
Super
Peter
cool.
rode with me in the Abarth for a little bit. Bip drove the
nice.
A4. Yeah, so yeah, and then while we were here, we went out for some food, and Bip drove the Abarth on these streets out here. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Share your cars with friends. Let them drive them for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
So yeah, so there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
nice.
why I am fucking tired, buddy.
Well, then let's wrap it up. Nobody told us we had to go long.
Ian, I need an album from you.
Okay.
I want. Oh, and I have a podcast recommendation that was great to listen to on the trip. We did have walkies, so I didn't listen to a lot. But there's this podcast called Valley Heat. I don't know. Have you heard about this, Ian?
Mm-mm.
It is, if you like things where the main character just cannot stop stepping on their own dick and just get like haplessly getting themselves into worse and worse situations, you need to listen to this podcast because, first of all, it's free on Apple Podcasts and everything. And it's this guy who's an insurance adjuster who's trying to figure out who's using his garbage can as a drug drop. And the audio production is amazing. This guy is insanely talented. There's fantastic music that's completely original, for the show. And it just gets more hapless, more absurd, and just more funny as it goes on. It's one of the very, very few things that I listen to at one time speed because I want to hear everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Listen to the Valley Heat podcast. Yeah, I'll put a link in the YouTube for sure. That is
write a note.
I'm writing a note. Valley Heat.
Right under Bub Rub.
Bub Rub Valley. you do the Bub Rub, then you get a case of the Valley Heat. Yeah. But yeah, it's if you want something entertaining to listen to on a drive, absolutely listen to Valley Heat podcast. It's so good. Yeah. I think you would love it, Ian. It's like, it gives me a little bit of a Nathan For You vibe.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Maybe more hapless. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway.
I have an album of the week, and it is I think I'm almost positive this is an old favorite of yours. So this is not going to be new for you.
Okay.
And it wasn't really new for you. It was something I had heard before, but I had forgotten about. And they were playing it at the bagel place that I took my kids to get bagels before school, and they were playing it at Call Your Mother. And Nico was like, "What is this?" And I had to Shazam it. I was like, I know I've heard it before.
Oh,
and it was Handsome Boy Modeling School.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Dan the Automator, Prince
Dan
Paul.
the Automator. Yep. LP is on that, which I forgot. He's on that record. Yep. DJ Shadow has a great song on that record.
He does.
Yeah. It's awesome. Awesome album. But I had kind of forgotten about it. And I've been listening to it again the last couple of days. And I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing.
So you're right. It is 100% amazing album. I love Deltron 3030. I think that's my favorite Dan the Automator thing. Yeah. I think this is a close second. Yeah. Really love this one.
Yeah.
For sure. Right. The production's aces. LP has a hilarious story about his song on this album because Dan the Automator switched the entire fucking beat out without telling him. And so LP sent in lyrics, all of his tracks for the song that he thought. And then he didn't find out until he bought the fucking album and heard his song. And he was like, this is not the song I rapped to. What the fuck is this? And called Dan the Automator, was like, what the fuck did you do to me? And LP, in very LP fashion, was like, the one I recorded was better. It's like, what are you doing? They're cool now. Those two are cool now. But on that on that podcast. It's called What Had Happened Was with Open Mike Eagle, where he goes into like a hip hop person's discography with them. Season 1 or 2 was Prince Paul. And then season 3 or 4 was LP. And so LP told this story about, because he goes through everything in that artist's discography and talks to the artist about it. Yeah. I'm lukewarm on Open Mike Eagle. I think he's somewhat up his own butthole very much. Very navel gazy, but he's like a 7 out of 10 interviewer, 8 out of 10 interviewer. And what he's able to talk to these folks and get them to talk about is very good. Is very good. So
that's really funny.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, LP was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And it's a great song. Like
it's a really good song. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, nope, the one I had was better. The one they sent me first, it was way better because that's what I recorded the vocals to.
Did that ever surface?
No, I don't think so.
Surfaced?
Yeah.
Huh. Wonder what happened to that.
I don't know.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Right. Yeah. Because they didn't play it on Open Mike Eagle's thing because they play tons of stuff as well.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, Open Mike Eagle would have been like, here it is.
Listen to it.
Yeah. But that's an awesome pick for an album of the week, Ian.
Yeah.
Handsome Boy Modeling School. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm a male model.
Right. It makes me want to, I was thinking, so my wife is about to be out of town. And I think my project while she's gone is going to be watching the Chris Elliott
Get a Life,
which I've never seen all of. I've seen bits of it because I'm a big Chris Elliott fan.
Right.
From the 80s.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid watching him on Letterman.
Yeah.
And actually I taught my kids whenever we have bananas in the house.
Okay.
He did a bit on Letterman where he would pretend to be Marlon Brando, and but like late in life Marlon Brando when he was like a schlub. And one of the things that he did on that show as Marlon Brando in like an oversized like bowling shirt was he did a song with the band backing him up where he just put a bunch of bananas on the floor and danced around them and went bananas. And so I do that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it right there. And so whenever we have bananas in the house, bananas. And I have my kids doing it now, and they don't know that it's a 35-year-old bit from Letterman.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. I'll have to watch Get a Life. I haven't seen it forever. Yeah.
I remember watching it when it was on, but I didn't watch it all for sure. So I think I was gonna download it and watch it.
Yeah. Nice. Right on.
Dave, I think we did a car show. Did a car show.
Ian, I've done all the car things. I don't know.
You've got to be carred out.
I'm doing okay. I drove the Abarth today because I needed to go wash it. So I washed my boy.
Good job.
Nice. Thank you. And it started and didn't throw a code.
Well, yeah.
Right? Because it's one thing to park it in the garage after a successful trip. It's another thing to like take an errand drive the next day and it still be okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, everybody, social media, blah, blah, blah. Email us, text us pictures, 720-515-1391. Let Dave get some rest. Thank you. We love you. Goodbye. Bananas.